Over the last decade, the popularity of internet dating sites has soared. Even older Australians are signing up in significant numbers. While the Fairfax-owned RSVP.com claims its site has been responsible for more than 1,000 marriages, not everyone has a happy ending. Psychologist Andee Jones documented her 4 years of frustrations with internet dating in the book Kissing Frogs. Now that book has been turned into theatre after actor Annie Byron used it as the basis for her one-woman show Are You For Me? Sharon O'Neill reports.
He asks if we can meet. Well, that is what I'm here for, I suppose. A few more emails reassure me of his bona fides. So...
It was the internet dating experience of a close friend that convinced Annie Byron this was great territory for drama.
Every time she called, I'd find myself with tears running down my face with laughter of the stories that she was telling me. And I just kept saying to her, you really must write this down. I think this would make a great one-woman show. Oh, what am I doing here?
Here we are, ladies. Thank you. You're welcome.
But someone had already written the stories. Melbourne psychologist Andee Jones decided once she'd given up full-time work, she'd try her hand at online dating.
I thought, really, what have I got to lose? And I was really curious to find out.
4 years of dating didn't produce Mr. Right, but it gave Andee Jones plenty of material for her book Kissing Frogs.
It was after a breakup with a lovely man, really. We were talking about the breakup. And I said to him, look, thousands of couples are probably going through this, you know, having been drawn into thinking that he was their ideal person and it just didn't work out. Why don't we write a book about it? He said, great, you know, that'd be terrific. And I thought there'd be both sides, there'd be his side, my side. But in the end, he got too busy dating. And I didn't, so I got busy writing.
Maybe I should run away while I still can, but I can't. That's him, in the beret. Oh my God, he looks like Maurice Chevalier. I've missed my moment to even pretend that I haven't seen his arrival. And I had all exits covered, including amphibious, but he's here, smiling and waving hello, and he couldn't look more at ease with himself, with the world, with dating.
Annie Byron borrowed the stories from Kissing Frogs to produce her one-woman show, Are You For Me? But she also had her own experience.
Have you ever tried internet dating yourself?
I did try for a little while. I didn't last very long, but yes, enough to know. And then the first time I met someone, he was not only significantly older than I was expecting, but quite a bit shorter. And I just thought that was really funny. It's a really funny thing to lie about. So that convinced me that there was material here. Call Me Mitch has a certain dignity about him. He tells me he's a pensioner, partly disabled, and 8 years older than advertised.
Most of the older men lied about their age. But in a way I understand when I spoke to them, because a lot of them were upfront as soon as we met. They said, you know, I had to try something because I was getting no responses. I did fib a bit about my height.
RSVP.com is Australia's largest online dating service.
RSVP runs a Date of the Nation research study every year, and what we found from that is that even in this age group, 62% of Aussies are still looking for a long-term relationship, and probably more so men than women, but 50% of them are looking for the one that they want to spend the rest of their life with.
Andee Jones wasn't necessarily looking for a long-term commitment, but she was looking for an equal. Her first date was promising.
Mitch was my first date. Exactly the sort of man I'd imagined I would meet.
I am nervous. This is my first date in nearly 40 years. Don't worry about it. The more dating one does, the easier it gets. This is Mitch talking. I should know. I've had contact with nearly 80 women.
He had a short list. So I actually made it onto the shortlist. I mean, I was so chuffed.
We chat about books, philosophy, family, politics. He's an engaging man. This has been a good first date.
But Andee Jones sadly discovered that the Mitches of the online dating world were, in her experience, few and far between.
Mitch reinforced my expectations, and then everything went downhill from there.
It's a little disappointing.
I had said that I was, you know, educated, artistic, relatively open-minded, you know, interested in conversation. And this guy left a voice message saying, I mean, he was almost apoplectic with rage. He said, "Gaw!" He said, "You're so far up yourself. I've never met anyone who's so far up herself. Gaw!"
That's what my sister did.
The man I did find would never in a million years go on a dating site. Maybe the real gems are not on dating sites.
Andee Jones agrees. She thinks the intelligent, well-adjusted men who treat women as equals don't stay single for very long.
Women know that there are not many gems out there, and if they manage to find one, they're sensible enough to keep him.
There's no mention of meeting up again.
I think this is a problem specific to the baby boomer generation because of the huge change that happened between the 50s and the 60s. And I think a lot of men would still love family life to be as it was in the 50s. Father knows best.
I know what an exhausting month he's had.
At the end of the 4-year stint, I rang a large introductory agency and just said, I'm interested, you know, what do I have to do? And the woman on the phone said, look, I'll ask you 3 questions. Your age, your height, your education. And I told her those things. And she said, save your money. There are no men in your category out there.
I'm just pleased to have survived my first foray into the game.
But whatever happened to Mitch?
He is happily married. He met his match. I was going to meet more Mitches. And I didn't. Not one.
I mean to buy more arrows.
And Andee Jones' single life has produced another book, Barking Mad, which was launched tonight in Melbourne. The play Are You For Me begins at Parramatta's Riverside Theatre next Thursday.